chơi game mới. The Story, The Path of Destiny. Câu chuyện con đường số phận. Game này tôi lấy trên game cây đó nha.
Once upon a time, the infamous rover Reynardo plundered the floating isles. Then his mother called him to her deathbed. "Swear to me that you won't die on the gallows," she rasped. Reluctantly, he swore. And he whiled away his days at home with music, cards, and wine. But the Emperor had changed. He'd been good once, a shy, almost humble toad. He built universities. But then people started whispering about mass graves in the woods, midnight rituals, victims screaming. The Imperial Ravens would round up entire villages, and no one ever returned. The Ravens had come to Ubar scouting for ancient books said to be of great power. But the librarians had hidden the books, so they'd burnt the librarians. The citizens, outraged, had driven them off. The Ravens had come back with dropships. The kid had fled with one of those books. He was brave and dumb and wanted to join the rebellion. And Reynardo had promised his mother he'd protect him. The kid was looking down, watching his city burn. Had run off. With the book, of course. So Reynardo had to run after him. The two ravens were staring at the kid like he was their dinner, which probably was what was in their tiny brains. "Hey," Reynardo said. They cocked their heads at him. "Pick on someone as ugly as you." Wait, that didn't come out right. "For the Emperor!" The ravens cawed and rushed at him.
Điểm đó. Game đi gì vậy? Ôi, mới nhắc xong. Gì đây? Quên đi thôi. Né sao ta? À, lựa chọn mà. Chưa có nút né.
A dropship flew overhead. He hoped they hadn't noticed him. The kid.
Oh.
Oh, right. The Gate of Heroes. Someone's idea of a joke, making the skyship docks a gated community. You needed a hero's sword to open it. And the kid was on the other side of the gate. Who let you through? Promise me you'll take the book to the rebels, or I'm gonna steal your ship. I'm not taking that damn book anywhere, and neither are you. Try and stop me, laughed the kid. I bet you don't even have a hero sword. And with that, the kid hopped away. Had to hand it to the kid. He was an idiot, but he had guts. Where was Renato going to get a hero sword? Ore and wind essence? That sounds about perfect.
Kiếm này. Build kiếm này.
A hero sword. QED.
Ôi nhiều kiếm lắm. Toàn kiếm xịn này. Nguyên liệu đâu ra?
This is what he got for settling down and finding people to care about. The kid's mum had been a swell cook, and she'd laughed at Renato's jokes, even when he didn't know he'd made one. And the ravens had come to burn her. And she'd made him promise to protect the kid. But she never told him where the book was. Just the kid. He came up to a ledge. It was too far to jump. There'd been a bridge here before, hadn't there? And there was Peter, giggling at him. How'd you get across? He asked the kid. Where'd you find a hook? I hopped, said the kid. Wise-ass kid. Hey, look out behind you! Cute, said Renato. Ah, oh, ravens.
Raven.
It was time to put some sense into the kid. Just hook his way across the ledge and chase the kid down. Thing was, he hadn't used his hook since he'd retired. How had he done it? Maybe if he meditated at that altar there, he'd remember his old skills.
Kêu này. Cái này là ấn Antalat. Lóc hết rồi.
It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot. Like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember.
Lát nó kéo nè.
There was the Farfarer. She was the fastest ship he'd ever known. She could do the Kestra run in 12 furlongs. Oh, so the salesman had told him. And something told him the kid was about to walk into an ambush. Stop! He shouted. I'm not giving you the book! Shouted the kid, and took off. No! Peter! The kid ran for it. And a goggler nailed him with its ivy.
Ôi.
The book was unburned.
Đó,
Next
nó
to
biến
it
thành
were
tro
the
bụi rồi.
buckles from the kid's shoes, and a kid-sized pile of ashes. Damn it. Why hadn't he lied and told the kid he'd take the book to the rebels? The kid would be alive now. Really pissed off and betrayed, but alive. Oh, damn it. Reynardo picked up the book. He couldn't let the Empire have it now. He was going to have to get it out of there. He'd be a wanted man. Probably have to join the rebellion just to have a place to dock. Well, he'd hated home life anyway. What was the big deal about this book anyway? Maybe... just to have a place to dock. Well, he'd hated home life anyway. Cranking up their catapults. Just going out for milk? Laughed the Raven horribly. Far behind him, another city was burning. The dark cloud above its island was thousands of Imperial ships. The fleet was doing a thorough job.
Take us to the rebel base! I will spare your life!
It called. The entire jury-rigged rebel fleet was only a few islands to the east. Beyond that were only the pillars of heaven, a sea of endless blood-colored tornadoes. The rebellion was out of time. Changer. Maybe he could. Reynardo had found out where he could find the pieces of the Sky Ripper, the legendary weapon that had exiled the lost gods. Surely a legendary weapon could win the final battle. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino had sent Reynardo a desperate message saying he had a brilliant scheme to save the rebellion. If Reynardo could only rescue him. Reynardo dived the Farfarer towards the abyss. As he felt the heat of the jet stream, the Raven ships peeled off, not stable enough to follow him down there. Now it was time to choose. Lapino or the Sky Ripper.
Chọn rồi, nó bắt mình chọn rồi. You can make a new old friend. You không thể. Bạn không thể. Có một tình bạn cũ. Là gì? Bạn không thể làm cho một bạn già. B360G Gaming. Thiện ác chọn nào trời? Mình phải đi theo con tim hay lý trí? Mình đi theo con tim đi.
Ah, Lapino. Apparently, the Mad Rabbit had sold a Pegasus that he did not exactly own. Lapino always wiggled out of trouble, given time. But he was out of time. The Ravens had figured out that Lapino was a rebel spy. If the fleet reached him first, they'd string him up for that. Never mind the winged horse. Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen a winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the Ravens?
Nó có gì đâu mà gắn ngọc như đồ. Chả có game nào hết trơn. Càng không. Farm. Review đồ.
Building these platforms was so expensive, they'd run out of budget for guardrails.
đáp ngay đây nha.
People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks past, Reynardo had sneaked through an empty town and listened to the ravens caw about the Emperor's new taste in ritual sacrifice. Reynardo's blood was up. He just needed to smash something.
Kiếm mạnh hơn mới cho đi tiếp nè. Mạng hả ta?
Odd that they never locked these things.
Có ngọc rồi.
Ravens were landing everywhere. The advance guard. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lupino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lupino. Where had the mad rabbit got to?
Đập nó đi ta, để dành lát không có máu là ta. Không bên vậy.
Reynardo felt like he was ready to learn new things. Thank goodness he didn't have to go to school for that.
Sao lóc của tôi?
It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember.
Lướt là hết năng lượng. Để né đòn thôi. Combo dữ quá.
Reynardo felt a chill run down his back. Or possibly a flea.
chơi giải trí nhẹ nhàng, ok. Con thỏ này tưởng chết
Dirty
rồi.
and bloody, Renato finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized the cards. It was Lapino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, see, this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people, actually, for weasels. Now, I got a brilliant plan to kidnap Zenobia. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who also happened to be a deadly sorcerer and, oh, his only daughter? That would be worth it. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power.
Lại con tim hay lý trí này? Trời ơi. Dã man con ngan. Phải chọn con tim vậy.
Zenobia wasn't just the Emperor's daughter, of course. She'd been Renato's best friend in Sword Fu School. And you're still mad for her, the rabbit reminded him. They'd been close. She'd told him things no one else knew. But she'd never told him who she really was. She knows all the Emperor's plans, chuckled the master spy. She won't give them up easily. She'll tell the interrogators, all right, said Lapino. Taking her would change the game, all right.
Shit, okay.
The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogator.
Cái màu này cái màu nó hơi chói. Ok, cho nó bớt đỏ lại đỏ á.
Gators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty.
Chết lại. À, đánh nhau chết. Tưởng sợ mình tới từ chết. Ui trời ơi. Ra bên.
Ice wall. Ice cube.
Kiếm băng giá mới mở được. Ơi, kiếm. Con nói sao thì giết được nhỉ? Đừng đi qua đây nha. Đi thử coi chết không. Giết được này.
Say goodnight, Gracie, said Renato, wondering who Gracie was.
Đồng đấy. Easy.
Huh? A lever? That was new. Most people still use doorknobs.
Tỏ để đến đây rồi.
So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lapino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lapino dressing as an old blind toad, and Reynardo hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Reynardo.
Not the time. Scare. What the Lapino. Có kế hoạch rõ ràng. Không có thời gian.
Oh, this is gonna be fun, said Lapino as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan. A crafting bench. Reynardo wondered what he could make with it.
Chúng ta có cục não này. Nâng cấp được rồi này. Hãy để dành nâng kiếm nha. Nâng kiếm này, nâng kiếm khác đây. Để dành nâng kiếm. Cùi mía này. Để dành nâng kiếm này đi.
There had to be something useful in these things, didn't there?
Time. Let's try. Nâng máu. Nó có được di chuyển. Thời gian chắc hay nè. Slow down at time.
He'd missed his old skills. He welcomed them back like it was at a reunion.
Tuổi. Đấy ạ. Ủa da, sao không né được ta? À, né được. Nó nhanh hơn nó cơ. Chậm quá, chậm quá.
Reynardo felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Lapino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after the geese, the net dropped, and Reynardo jumped out of the watermelon and put his sword to Zenobia's throat. Reynardo, she said, are those new scars? They look good on you. You never returned my velvet jacket. It was my favorite. You look stupid in velvet. Ah, what does an imperial princess know about style? Oh, get a room, you two, said Lapino. But the fleet was coming on fast, so they put Zenobia on the Farfarer and took her east over the Nexus. She'd vanished from Swordfu School, from his life, without even saying goodbye, without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter. Ah, Lapino was right, Reynardo thought reluctantly. She knows things. She recognized his look. You're taking me to the interrogators, aren't you? She said, wide-eyed. And then she jumped, with horror. Reynardo saw Zenobia plummeting. Then he saw the Nexus below them. Cats always land on their feet. Ah, she'll head for the Imperial outpost, yelled Lapino. You have to catch her.
Có hại mình rồi. Nãy mẹ xông vào là xong rồi. Kế hoạch cái đầu cha mày.
Cats can run faster, but foxes can run longer. If he ran, he could head her off before she reached her minions at the outpost. Well, he did love a good chase. Good thing Renato didn't have vertigo.
Cần cho nó nha. Grab. Switch chọn kiếm. Control class. Né đòn. Ủa nó còn chùm setup à?
Who needed bridges anyway?
Nhiều đường ở đây mà. Này đây có đường ẩn.
I wonder what I could make with all these sword crafting materials, thought Renato.
Nắm trò. Đã có kiếm băng rồi mà. Mình chỉ mở được cái cửa xanh này thôi. Ngon đấy.
He was closing on her. He could smell her fear. He tried not to think about the interrogators at the secret base. What did they do to her? Maybe it didn't have to end that way. Maybe he could talk to her. But, after all, there were worse things the Imperials had done to friends of his. the artisans he was creating employment for. Truly, he was a job creator.
Kiếm lửa. Chắc được cái này rồi. Cháu cục đá nè. Trời ơi! Tốc độ không tưởng. Rồi xong.
Bernardo reached the outpost. The Imperials there were no match for him. Soon after, Zenobia limped up the path. When she realized he was already in front of her, she didn't even try to run. Oh, you left without saying goodbye. Again, he said,
Yeah.
Please. I'm enjoying this a little too much. She said, shaken. Oh, spare us the chit-chat, would you? Said Lapino as he shackled her hands so she couldn't throw spells. She knows all his plans. All the way back to the Farfarer, Lapino nagged Renato about how the interrogators would pry all the intel out of Zenobia. How that would turn the tides in the imminent battle. All they had to do was take her to the rebels' secret base. Renato didn't like to think about what the interrogators would do to her. Couldn't he just talk to her?
Không biết tiếng Anh khổ vãi luôn. Chọn thứ nhất, quá tàn nhẫn, bỏ qua nghiên cứu một lần nữa và từ từ sẽ làm được cô ấy có thể đủ đưa cô ấy đến căn cứ và giành chiến thắng một lần nữa cho Không, sẽ không giao cô ấy tới căn cứ.
As they pulled away from the Nexus, Renato could see the fear in Zenobia's eyes. I can't take her to those creatures at the base, he whispered to Lapino. Ah, you've gone soft. Soft in the head. We captured her for what she knows. I'll take her to the mountains. Tell all the horrible things the Emperor's done. Yeah, believe me, she'll turn. And he turned the wheel. The hell you will, shouted Lapino, and he grabbed the wheel back from him. The two of them wrestled for control of the ship. It shot off like a mad sparrow. Suddenly, Renato was falling. When he came to, Zenobia was standing over him. Why didn't you take me to the base to be interrogated? She demanded. Do you know what's left of people they interrogate? This is some trick, isn't it? To make me fall for you again. Well, I won't. Oh, go on then. Scurry back to your ravens. I can't stop you. But strangely, she didn't. As Renato set off to find the Farfarer, she followed him, keeping just out of sight of the ravens.
Để dành vũ khí mới nâng cấp làm gì? Gắn lên đá vô cực ấy.
Renato wondered idly if people who had built these poles had really long tentacles.
Kill the rebel!
Caught one raven.
Eat the rebel!
Caught another.
Nhiều đường đấy nhờ.
Ice walls only let you through if they knew you were cool. This was much easier than free
Đường đi
climbing.
quá ta. Không biết đường đi là chết cha.
As Renato stopped to sniff the wind, Zenobia came up, still mad. Did you really think you'd just talk me into betraying my father? Oh yeah, sure, that was exactly my plan. Then why aren't you even talking to me? Because I've never talked you into anything in my life. They're gonna court-martial you for letting me go. He caught a whiff of the Farfarer. Wet rope, tar, and a cask of Scoble ale he'd spilt last year. It was that way.
Trời ơi, rương kìa.
Renato wondered if he should have taken Zenobia to the rebel base for real. Maybe she wasn't playing him after all. After the bleak talk about the Emperor's dark secrets, he was regretting his suspicion. Sure enough, the Farfarer had crashed in some rocks. There was no sign of Lupino. Zenobia caught up. All that kid stuff in Swordfu School. Look, that's the past. We're adults now. We have duties to other people. We have destinies. What are you talking about? And you are the most arrogant, slow-witted, light-fingered, mercenary, immoral, reckless... Run away with me, said Renato, and he realized he meant it. Oh, just like that, she demanded. I will, if you will. So she kissed him. And it was the best kiss he'd ever had. They held hands as they boarded the Farfarer. Renato felt light-hearted, like the winds that were playing the rigging like a balalaika. But Lupino, I need to get back to Lupino, he said, suddenly realizing he could have been captured. A prisoner. He's not. How'd you know? He saw something in her eyes he didn't understand. He fell, didn't he? Into the abyss. She looked away. Wouldn't answer. But then a bolt smashed through the Farfarer's keel. The broken ship plummeted out of the clouds.
Sao che máy rồi? The hell? Lỗi game ơi. Tắt ra. Hmm. Chờ chút vô lại game.
As they made their way to the secret rebel base, Renato felt strange. Zenobia was his prisoner, yet somehow she felt more like an old friend. He wanted to tell her all his secrets, but suddenly the ruins lit up with thousands of fireworks. There was a thunderous roar and dust rose. The caves were collapsing. The caves? You've been playing me? Renato said, and he stared at Zenobia. I'm sorry, she said, and she seemed almost embarrassed. Then everything went dark. When Renato came to, he had a terrible headache. Also, Zenobia's sword was at his throat. And her shackles were gone. So was Lupino. The terrible thing is, he said, I really have missed you. Now that we've destroyed the rebellion, would you consider becoming an advisor to the Emperor's daughter? I'm no one's servant. Everybody serves. Even if it's only destiny. I like to choose my own destinies, he said. The whole point of a destiny is you can't choose. Oh, never mind, she said. Look, if I see you again, I'll have to...